What's going on, everybody? We are at the Toronto Sports Card Expo. This is day 3 now. We are at the Canada Sports Cards booth. Oh, it's early, man. We're still booking. I'm excited to introduce Mitch Gropman from Gropman Cards. If you guys collect hockey, I mean, even if you don't, some of his pieces are unbelievable. It's not just the fact that some of them are higher ticket items. It's the fact that each item, I feel like, is curated specifically. It's not like, oh yeah, I kind of like that. Everything is very direct. You have like a game plan when it comes to your buying. I love that. And I mean, we'll find out a little bit more about you, but I have a feeling you don't really flip any of those, or they're kind of mainstays. So first of all, Mitch, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about some of like your curated buys. So first of all, how do you determine what you're buying?
Yes, so these, I used to be a lot more broad with what I bought over the years. So I've been collecting for over 20 years at this point, because my dad actually owned a big card distributor in the 90s.
Really?
So I kind of was...
What distributor?
I was called Card World Distributors, the original Card World before Dave and Adams.
Yeah.
So I was kind of born into it. Like, I don't know a world without hockey cards. So I kind of had a big leg up in terms of collecting.
Yeah.
So growing up in seeing the kind of the end of the 90s in the card world, I saw these warehouses just, when you actually see cards in the hundreds of thousands, it kind of gives you a deeper sense of what the importance of scarcity is.
Yeah.
So because I was surrounded, I could sometimes see the card companies would send my dad, here's 10,000 cases of this product, and I'm like, if there's that many of them, like, how special can this card be?
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of very iconic cards that, like Gretzky's rookie, there's tens of thousands of those.
So many.
But in terms of me specifically, I always was attracted to cards that I didn't see all the time. So when the Cup came out in 2006, my dad kind of said to me, like, hey, like, this is unlike anything we've seen. I have him to thank for a lot of how my collecting approach has changed.
Yeah.
And, right from 2006, we were collecting it. So the first set we built together was the 0506 The Cup Signature Patches set, which to this day is one of my favorite sets ever made. And it took us 3 years, and we completed that. And then Completed it, yep. I've since completed the 0607 one as well. And, as the years went by and, Upper Deck kept producing the Cup, I had kind of always felt like those first couple of years that were created by Carvin Chung, those to me, always stuck out. And I think as long as the league tells Upper Deck that they can't make a better product than the Cup, to me, it makes the most sense to me to chase after those cards specifically. And, as the years went by, I pick up cards that, didn't really fit my collection at all. And I just kind of said, like, if I keep doing this, it's going to be, I'm going to have less funds available for the cards that I really do want.
When they do come up, because they don't come up very frequently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I just kind of had to eventually tell myself, okay, I don't need this. I don't need this. And then over the last, 4 or 5 years, really, I've kind of just said, like, okay, this is what I really want. And when those cards come up, I do whatever I can to make sure I grab them.
How do you stay consistent when, like, aren't there instances where you're like, man, I feel like I haven't bought anything in, like, months? Isn't there, like, an inclination to, like, oh, this is a good price, like, I'll grab this?
Yes. So, there's definitely been lulls, and definitely I'm more inclined to purchase things that are more outside of the scope of what I'm collecting at those times. But then, I guess, experience is the best teacher, and I've done that enough times over the years, and then been like, why did I buy this?
And then you're, like, stuck with something.
And then I got to sell it later. So I just kind of, I reflect on those purchases more and more when those opportunities happen. And then I just tell myself, I'm really not someone who's in the hobby for money at all.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to pass on what's an easy flip.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I find that sometimes, because I'm building a few sets too, and I mean not quite to the extent that you are, but those tougher to find sets, those tougher to find cards, you know, you go through a few months of not buying, you're like, I almost feel like I'm not really engaging with like the cards themselves. I guess you own them, but like you feel like you're not really making much progress in your pursuit of like acquiring this set. I mean, maybe it's just like some subconscious like FOMO, or I don't know what it is for me, but.
Well, I guess for me, I never feel disengaged because, I mean, honestly, the way that I hunt for cards, like my fiance thinks it's a mental illness.
Yeah?
Yeah, like
really?
I really will go to any length to find these cards that I'm after, especially when I'm chasing sets. Like this year, I completed the 06-07 Cup Signature Patches set, and I couldn't find Dominic Hasek anywhere. I went on the Czech version of Craigslist, and I found it there. And I reached out to a Czech person in the hobby. I was like, "Can you translate and facilitate buying this in some small town in the Czech Republic, and I'll pay for all of it?" And I actually got it that way.
Yeah?
I had no idea if he would actually send me the card.
Yeah.
And luckily it came up. It was a guy on Facebook with like no profile picture.
That's crazy.
And you know, it took like 2 months, but I got the card.
Did you send you like tracking? Or was it just like?
Yeah, he sent me a Czech tracking number.
You're just praying.
And the whole deal was done
praying.
in Czech.
Yeah.
I used a lot of Google Translate.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
How did you just transferred the funds and like?
Yeah, I PayPal
Go for
them.
it.
Yeah, I said, "Here's the money. Please send me the card." And I got lucky. He sent it to me.
At least it's through PayPal, right? Like you could have got it back to a certain
Sure,
extent,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, but still, man, that's hilarious. So I mean, to that note, what do you think your most interesting like buying story is? Like what's one that really stands out for you? I mean, aside from the Hasek.
Yeah, I was gonna like if you asked me
Yeah?
before I told you that
Would've
story,
been the
I probably
Hasek?
would have
Yeah?
told you that
Okay, I
story.
mean-
But I think, like, you know, I've had okay, I'll tell you. Earlier this year, there was a big auction on Classic Auctions. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with them. They do mostly like really like crazy hockey memorabilia,
Yeah.
but they do a couple cards. Like a lot of them are just big lots.
Yeah.
So one of the cards in this lot of hockey cards was a 05-06 Cup Frank Mahavlich limited logos, and he only has one of them. It's out of 20, and I believe so.
Now starting in the photo op with Dave Keon. If you have a Dave Keon photo op, please make your way over to the photo op booth.
saw him
Once
yesterday.
again,
Yeah, so-
if you have a Dave Keon photo op, please make your way to the photo op area. Thank you.
So a lot of the 05-06 limited logos were thrown away before pack out because the autographs were printed on the wrong gloss.
Really?
So they bubbled up too much, and Carvin decided, you know, these don't look good enough to pack out. So Frank Mahavlich, a lot of the older guys with the big, long autographs, those are most of the ones that got thrown away. So it's out of 20. I've seen 2 copies ever. So I bet more than half of them were thrown away.
Wow.
So in my head, I'm like, I have to buy this 70-card lot to get this Frank
This
Mahavlich.
card, yeah.
So I ended up buying 70 cards just to get the one card, and then I'm like, I'll sell the other 69.
Yeah.
Nice. And then
How was that in terms of selling them?
I've sold like 30 of them
And that was this year.
this year, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I still have like 40 cards that I need to sell, and I bought just to get this one card. Which I know is like crazy, but in my head I'm like, if I don't buy this lot,
never
I'm
gonna
never
see it
going to
again.
get the
Yeah,
Mahavlich
yeah.
for the set.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing, you know, if it's the right card, that's what I'll do.
I like set collecting. You know what I mean? And I like
Yeah.
talking to set collectors because I feel like it's very. I mean, I was just talking about how, you know, how do you not stray, but I mean
Yeah.
it's very easy to like stay focused to a certain extent, right? You're like, I know exactly what I need. You know I can pace myself for this. I mean, unfortunately, in the case of like some of the stuff that you're acquiring, it's super short printed. When it comes up, you kind of have to be ready and available. How do you find, like is there like some sort of cash flow situation that you're like, okay, I got this amount allocated towards sports cards, and like, do you ever find a card that's like outside your budget and you have to like pass on it?
Yeah, so I'll back up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, when I was younger, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I was not as much of a set collector.
Yeah.
So I built the 0506 signature patches set, and I built like a couple like smaller sets, but I was really a like Martin Brodeur super collector.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but as you know, you get to a certain point, and I know like a lot of people, like I would say more than set collectors are player collectors.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like I wasn't feeling like I was making any progress. Like when I had 300 Brodeur cards,
And they just released more.
and then I had 400.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's really the difference? Now it's like
Yeah.
there's thousands of cards.
Yeah.
I'll never have even 80% of them.
Especially if they keep releasing. right?
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
So I wasn't really getting that sense of accomplishment. And then when I finished the signature patches set, when I got that last card, it was so much better of a feeling than I ever had player collecting.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of a
It's
light
just like
bulb.
euphoric.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
So that was
like close the book on that.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that
Yeah.
sense of accomplishment was so much better than I ever had when I was player collecting.
Yeah.
And I think probably like that day I decided like, okay, I'm done player collecting. Set collecting feels way better.
I mean, that's a pretty big day, though. I mean, you literally completed
yeah,
the
no, it was-
506 signature series.
it was great.
That's a big deal,
No,
man.
it was awesome.
You're like, in this moment, I'm never going back.
So in terms of cash flow, though, you
Yeah.
know, I'm very lucky because I bought most of these cards. They were so cheap.
Yeah.
So like my 0506 Cup Ovechkin signature patches, I had 4 of them, and I paid like between $200 and $300 a card.
Wild.
And then I sold one of them to a good friend of mine 2 years ago for 6,000 USD, and it's like, and so because I bought so many of these when they were very cheap, it's made it so much easier to collect today.
And so you just kind of like that's your fund essentially. right?
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
That's such a good
I'm
idea.
I'm
yeah.
not a rich guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't have like something where I get like tons of money funneling.
just
But,
funnels. Yeah.
but luckily like most of the cards that I bought when I was younger have like 10x.
Yeah.
So I'm just super
Yeah.
lucky that I bought them.
and you weren't as what's the word I'm looking for? You weren't as concise with what you were buying, right?
Yeah.
So like, and now it's like very focused. So you're like, I have all this stuff. It's all kind of like 5 or 10x. I'm like, guess what? I don't really want this. It doesn't serve my collection. I can take those funds and put that into like a much more like finite goal.
Yeah, exactly. And I've just been very fortunate that the things that I thought were super cool 10 years ago, that the hobby didn't really appreciate that much. I mean, even in Ovechkin rookie limited logos, game used, that was a $400 card.
Wild.
As 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so even cards like that, like I bought them, and then I'm lucky that the hobby kind of caught up to my taste.
Yeah.
And then that's been a big chunk, the biggest chunk by far of the funds that I'm able to put back into it, and then get the cards that I've decided today are the ones that I want in my collection.
That's amazing. If there's someone out there that doesn't really know what set speaks to them or what type of collecting speaks to them, like what could you tell? Like what advice could you give them?
It depends. What you want. If you want to set collect in such a way that you hope that your collection will be worth a lot more in the future, then I would say scarcity is going to be your best friend. Think about things that might be important to the hobby in a long time. What are they not making anymore? So I told you before we started going that I was collecting the jersey numbered all-time Future Watch cards, and that's one of the only ultra modern sets that I've decided, okay, these seem special to me because Upper
It's
Deck.
funny when that box came out, it wasn't really well received. People just really didn't know what to do with it.
No. And look at, you can kind of look at history to kind of predict the future.
Yeah.
Upper Deck, every couple of years, they release a new kind of Legends set.
Yeah.
They've never done it twice except for Chronology. They did the Volume 1 and Volume 2.
Yeah.
But you look at 0405, they did Legends.
Yeah.
And then 0809, they did Legends Masterpieces. And then they did Chronology. Oh, and then they did another 14-15 Legends as well.
Yeah.
But It seems like, I hope that this is true.
But even if you get the first set, though, I mean, there's something to be
Yes,
said about the first,
absolutely.
right? So that's
Yeah.
like, even if there isn't like scarcity like forever for this set, this is still the first set. Like, if we look at basketball, for instance, 2020 or 2012 Prism is forever going to be
Yeah,
iconic
absolutely.
because it's the first set. I mean, we've seen Tom Brady 2012 Prism cards go for ridiculous amounts of money because it's like the first Prism, right? So
Yeah, we've been really lucky as a hobby that a lot of these first sets have been blessed with amazing rookie crops.
Yeah.
Like 0506 hockey, you got the first year of the Cup, you get the Crosby Ovechkin dual class. 12-13 in basketball.
There's a lot of guys in that set that are like, I mean, Lunk inducted to the Hall of Fame too,
yeah,
right?
Lunk, I mean,
Getzlav,
at the time, there were so many players that were big players at the time. Like Phaneuf was a huge card at the time.
Yeah, massive.
Mike Richards was big at the time.
Yeah,
Jeff Carter, Corey Perry.
Yeah, Zach Parise.
Cam Ward was a big one.
Yeah.
So you had all because
Cam
you had
Barker was drafted like 5th overall.
he was way higher.
Duncan Keith is in that set
Duncan,
too.
Duncan Keith's in the set. He was a 03 draft pick, I think.
Yeah.
And then Seabrook too.
Yeah.
So maybe a good tip, if there's ever another lockout, buy the product that comes out after that.
Yeah.
Because you have the same thing in
get a double
basketball
rookie class.
with the 12-13
Yes,
basketball
you're right,
sets.
you're right.
They're always big rookie crops.
You're right.
So
Well, because it's, I guess, two whole years.
exactly,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess probably the next time there's a
hope there's a
lockout.
lockout.
Yeah. And then after that, there are probably going to be some good products.
Yeah. That's smart. Awesome.
Yeah.
Mitch, where can everyone find you? Where can they follow you? Where can they reach out to you? Maybe if they have something that you need for your collection.
Sure. So my main Instagram account is at. I'll wait for the announcement.
We got this.
We will have the 3-leaf captains. If you have a photo up for the 3-leaf captains, please make your way over to that area.
I wonder if it's. I wonder how much of that it gets picked up.
I don't know.
Captains photo shoot.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Okay, so if the easiest way to reach me is on my main Instagram account at Gropman Cards. I also run an account called the Hockey Hall of Fame, or Hockey Card Hall of Fame, where I just post what I think are like some of the best cards ever made. Just kind of like a way. I also run an account called Fake Hockey Patches, where I document cards that have been altered in terms of the material inside the card. And then I also run a Facebook group that's specifically for cup cards. So if you search that up, Upper Deck the Sell Trade. If you just want to look at cup cards, you can reach me on there as well.
Mitch, I want to thank you so much for jumping on here and
thanks for
educating
having me.
people about not only what you like, but maybe pushing them in the direction to figure out what they like. So
Yeah.
And I got to know you better as well. So I really
thank you
appreciate
so much
man.
for having me.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Take care. Great job, guys. What's going on, everybody? I am happy to have Karn Rye from Slab Sharks here. Once again, we're tuning in from the Canada Sports Cards group at the Toronto Sports Cards Expo. And, I mean, we have a big player in the hobby, someone who collects a lot of very interesting sports cards. I mean, man, your collection is one of the nicest I've seen. But most importantly, you are the top consignor in Canada and have just won an eBay award for Entrepreneur of the Year. Man, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think Entrepreneur of the Year, it's just a testament of, the hard work that goes into it every single day to consign your cards and help our consigners. And everything we do is based on helping the community. And the community itself is what builds our company. And we do everything in a way that provides a top quality service to sell your cards really quick and easy.
There's a buzz around the show around selling your Connor Bedard cards with Slab Sharks.
Yeah,
you guys
also,
are offering. Yeah, no, seriously. I've talked to maybe 3 or 4 people who were like, it's a no-brainer. Because you guys are offering 98% payouts, correct?
Yeah, and that 98% payout actually includes eBay fees,
That's what I mean.
all fees,
That's
everything.
what I mean. Like that includes shipping, that includes taxes, that includes like you don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Yeah, we do all the work, the titling, the scanning, the shipping. If there's a return, dispute, refund, we cover it.
Unheard of.
I know, it's something that we thought of. We were actually going to do a higher number, 100% payout, and someone suggested, why don't you just match the jersey number? It'll be a little bit cooler having a 98.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? That's a fun thing to do. Let's do that. So if you have any Connor Bedard cards all year long, it's 98% payout.
Like to the end of 2023?
Yeah, till the end of all hockey season.
Season?
Long. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, product release.
So we're talking Young Guns, we're talking
everything. Every single thing, and
really?
it's working really well because I think
you guys are just saying screw it, like let's go all in. I like that.
All in.
I like that.
And I think we're becoming the go-to spot for Bedard cards. We've already done. The guys that don't like the Easter egg are not gonna like this. We've done about like 35 Easter eggs already.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
And they're selling pretty well, strong.
Yeah, I mean they're all probably they're $700-800 range Canadian. No, I mean I feel like I could be wrong, but
like literally.
I'm excited. I can't believe that you guys are offering that for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
Yeah, we felt like it was a good thing to do. It's there's a lot of hype around Bedard, and we want the community in general to have the opportunity to buy big cards and buy big Bedard cards. And I thought the best way to do that is to get all those nice hits on a public forum that everyone can go and watch and see and bid on. And this is a good way to do it.
Genius. Let's talk a little bit. Yeah, no, I'm serious. Let's talk a little bit about stuff that you've been taking in so far this show. So this is day 3.
Yeah.
We just started day 3. You and I were having a brief conversation about how the first 2 days probably weren't as busy as I've seen in years past. At least the Friday. Today is absolutely rammed. I don't know if I've seen it this busy this early. What kind of stuff have you been taking in?
Surprisingly.
When it comes to the consignments.
Yeah, surprisingly first day did start off a little slow. It is dealer night though, so it's just the vendors walking
that's my
around.
Favorite night.
It is. It's fun. It's fun to go pick up some great buys at tables.
Yeah.
We were like, if you've seen our setup at the show, we do it all ourselves. The founders of the business are pulling in the cabinets, the video walls. We're grinding out there, and our setup is pretty intricate. So we were grinding, sweating that first Thursday, so we didn't really get a lot done.
You guys did it? Did you guys set up on the Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday, the whole time we were just grinding out there, just sweating. Honestly, even on Friday, we were sore, our backs were hurting.
I've seen the setup. I mean, so my friend, he was doing videography for me on Thursday. He came in and we did a full tour. It was the first time he's ever come in on a Thursday, and he's like, who do you think has the best looking booth? And I'm like, I'm gonna ask you that question. Who do you think? You obviously wanted to ask me, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. He said Slab Sharks, and he toured this whole place, and so I mean, the setup is clean. If you guys haven't seen it, there's LEDs under all of the showcases. It looks very, very, it's top notch, man. And it speaks to, I mean, I've received packages. I received one this week from you guys where I know exactly what to expect. I got that little card coffin that I refer to as so. I just wanted to give you a big shout out there for 2 seconds while I interrupted your story.
Thank you.
What you've been taking this weekend.
Yeah, thank you. And to to go on that point, we've been taking some big cards. We've had a few options coming in for our new service, which is fixed price to auction. Actually taking in cards worth about $10,000 plus, and we're allowing a fixed price option now, so you can actually list it at the price that you want to sell your card for. And if it doesn't sell for that price, then it goes into auction in 2 weeks.
Okay.
It gives a little bit of a leeway and understanding of what the offer market is like on a card. So based on that, we've got in a McDavid 101 Exquisite Collection PSA 10, Clear Cut Tribute. We've got in 2 Jack Hughes Cup RPAs out of 99. We had a Jack Hughes Cup Gold RPA out of 12, BGS 9.5. And in terms of consignment cards coming up, we have the highest graded Bedard Easter egg coming our way. The first one, that's a VGS 9.5. Crazy tough card to grade. They're all 7s, 8s, and 9s. So that was a nice card. And just a lot of like variety of, Wayne Gretzky autos. There's a lot of Austin Matthews patch autos. So and a huge comic book, actually. We got an X-Men #1 CGC 7, which is probably like a $15,000 to $20,000 plus comic book. And a surprising card, a LeBron James SPX printing plate from Exquisite 101. That was a cool card too. That's autographed on the plate.
What year are we talking?
That's 2004.
So like right after the rookie year.
But it's of the rookie year plate.
Really?
Yeah, so it's cool. So that's coming in auction on
I'm surprised
Thursday.
you didn't want in on that.
I was thinking about it, honestly, and then I'm like, I gotta expand.
You're
the
like, I have
plate
too
then,
many.
You know,
I know exactly.
I want to be very defined in what I'm collecting. So
I'm like, that sounds like it might be like touching on your alley. You know?
Yeah, and on the point you made, like how our booth is looking and how it's operating at this show.
Yeah.
That's kind of what our kind of company motto has been, that we're made for Canadians by Canadians, and even if you go to our eBay store or our About page, we explain that we really are trying to reinvest every single dollar back into this business to make it better for our consigners and our buyers.
Yeah.
So you made a comment about our shipping and the card coffin, which is a packaging that we have for every card that we send out. Customized, and it's going to get better and better. We really are trying to build something cool. We have our portal coming out as well, which is an app and a website.
You can track where your cards are at in terms of like the submission stage, correct?
Yeah, you can now, as of right now, when you consign a card, you have to go onto our eBay store and find your card and walk. It's a little bit of a tedious activity, and we made it a lot easier. So now we're going to actually have unique consignor IDs. You log into your app, only your cards show up if you want to see just your cards, and you can see our auctions and that. Yeah. And we've spent 7 months looking at every detail to get this perfected. So that's something that we're building. Yeah, thank you.
I was just about to ask you, what can we look forward to from Cyber?
Yeah, I think on that note, we're just going to continue making it better. And we have, if you know me, I'm a guy that looks into the future a lot, and I build a business plan, and I look at what we can improve on every single day. I already have kind of a phase 1 and a phase 2 and a phase 3, and I think we've talked about this
you and I have talked about
on your podcast. And right now, I think we're just in phase 1. And
the fact that you're in phase 1, you guys are winning Entrepreneur of the Year with eBay is like, I feel like a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and it comes. It's a lot of hard work, and this is a shout out to my co-founders as well. Everyone is digging in. No one's really taking a pay to work at Slab Sharks. It's a passion project, and they're coming in every single day, working hard to do this thing. And the only way we're able to do this thing is because we don't have high employee salaries or wages, because they're willing to come in and build this for free, basically.
And you just put it right back into it and just continue to build the machine, right? Like,
exactly.
I mean, so far so good. Like I said, people have come to me and specifically mentioned, like, oh, I'm just going to take this to Slab Sharks for consignment. Like, that's like it's a verb now. Yeah. You know? So,
awesome.
Like, that's not bad, man.
When we were picking our name, some people ask, why Sharks? Why Slab Sharks? You know, it makes sense, but it doesn't, like, what is a Slab Shark, right? Yeah. And for us, it was about making it a verb. What is easy to say? Yeah. What can catch on? Yeah. And we started just saying Slab Sharks as a friend group amongst each other. And that
I didn't know that
very well. Yeah, that's how it started.
That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. Who's the person who came up with the name? Like,
I think we had a group chat, and we just started like spewing random words together, and we tried fitting what made the most sense. We had weird ones. There's at one point there was a seal involved. Yeah? Like the animal is seal. And like we're just
what
like,
kind of seal are we talking?
Like like the hockey team, the Seals.
The Golden
right?
Seals.
Yeah,
California Golden Seals.
At one point we were thinking we started off as like a company that was gonna create like cases, right? We're gonna
like a Zion cases and stuff?
No, like like those like customized cases just for your PC.
Yeah, okay.
Where you can just like put your PC cards in and get a customized label, like a vanity slab type deal. We were thinking of starting off with that, right? Start off, and we were gonna call it seal it slabs.
Seal it?
So you seal it, your cards.
But it was a seal though.
And that was kind of just like seal it. Sounds like a dumb idea.
No, that's okay. Back. I mean, listen, all ideas sound dumb until they're like
I know, exactly.
Practice, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, if you look at like someone like Tim, who man, he's been killing it. I'm so proud of him. He just signed with like BCW with Slapstrong, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was walking around with a big hat, and like if you were to tell people like, oh, what is this guy doing walking around with like a giant hat? Like that's like he was just on the grind. So every idea sounds stupid until you actually put it into practice, right?
And legitimately, the way I met Tim was I was walking at the National like 2 or 3 years ago, and he just chucked a slab at my feet, and that's how I met him. And his whole like dig was like, the car didn't break, it didn't crack, and you're just like, oh wow. I mean, that was the first time he saw anything like that in the hobby. Yeah. And it's cool, right?
It's crazy, man. So I mean, it just goes to show like the innovation is there's so much room for innovation in this space. Anytime that someone thinks that it's been done before, or there's nothing left to figure out, everyone's happy. Like it's just not true, right? We can get more efficient. There's always areas of opportunity. You guys are like, how long have you been in business so far?
Officially, I would say for about a year. Year and a half.
And like, look at the growth already, right? Yeah. Like it just goes to show, like when you find an area of opportunity to help others in the space, maybe there's a bit of a disconnect in a certain market or a certain area, and you just run with it. I mean, you can. I mean, and you put in the work that you guys have put in, obviously. I mean, the growth can be exponential.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to what can you do to make it easier for the card collecting community and make it a better experience. And I know those sound like buzzwords, but it's literally as simple as that. And sometimes you just got to put the idea of margins and profit behind you and just build something that works and makes sense and makes it easier for the collectors and investors and speculators and everyone involved in this market. And that's kind of what we did. We just took it back to the basics and kind of had something here that helps people just get cash in their pocket.
If someone out there is looking to start a business in the space, what are some things that you would suggest?
Honestly, I would suggest a business plan. A business plan is extremely important. I think a lot of times businesses start on the fly. When an idea comes to your mind, sit down for a week and actually plan out what you want to do. And that's just not just your idea of your business, but how do you start a business? How do you incorporate a business? How do you get your books in order? How do you get a bank account? Some of those tedious activities are the most kind of time-consuming things, and they're the type of things that actually weigh down on you in the first 6 months of your business.
Yeah.
Where am I going to do this out of? Which office? Which area? Am I going to sign a lease? Am I going to go for it? Those business activities are what makes a business. So the idea is what grows it, but knowing what to do prior is what's going to...
the idea is like almost like, it's like overrated.
Any idea can make it.
Yeah.
But not everyone can build the foundation of what a business entails.
That makes sense.
And customer service as well.
Yeah.
That's the next step. Once you have the foundation of a business, you're incorporated. You got your trademarks for whatever trademarks you needed. You have an accountant, a CPA. You get your CPA to get intertwined with your CRA account. Those type of things. Small in your head, but actually very, very big.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
man.
once you get that
stabilized, dealing with like legal stuff, like a year in, 6 months in, you're struggling. You're like, man, like none of this is making sense financially, right? And it could be a great idea, but your books aren't in order.
Yeah, like for example, for our business, when it comes to a consignment company, it's about shipping. So we have to get our shipping companies in order. Which ones are we going to go with? Are we going to get a contract with one of them? So it's all about supplies, logistics, get all that kind of planned out at the start, and then go with your idea and grow it.
That's awesome. What is, you're a collector as well first, right? That's kind of how this all started. How has your collecting shifted over the course of the last few months?
Last few months, honestly, I take it easy. I pick my spots.
Yeah. Is that
Obviously-
different? Is that different from like, how it has been, or no?
No, there's obviously during like the growth stage, it's a lot easier to spend more money because you're not as worried about the market,
Yeah.
right? So it's easier to be loose with your finances. But when we're in a bear market, and I think the bear market is kind of here to stay for quite some time, you got to shift your strategy. I still want to collect. I'm not really trying to flip and make money in this market right now when it comes to buying and selling.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to collect. So I need to put like a kind of a stop mechanism on myself to stay disciplined. So I try to buy once a LeBron, because I collect LeBron rookie
Yeah.
autos. I try to buy one every 3 to 4 months now, when I used to buy one like every month, right? So I'm just trying to expand that time horizon.
So you just have like caps, like
Yeah, I'm only buying
okay.
one. I don't really care if this one pops up that I need it.
How
and
do you
it's at a
pick, how
good
do you
price.
pick the one?
It's just whatever comes up first, honestly. Sometimes I'll
It's
pick
like,
it.
it's like the alarm clock goes off in the
Yeah.
morning. You're like, okay, which one am I
I'll look at my
buying?
goals. Like if the auto is not good on a card, I'll just like I'm gonna get a better
Yeah.
one down the line. Or if the patch is not good,
Yeah.
I'll find another one down the line. So I
Yeah.
just stay
I mean,
disciplined.
that makes sense.
I'm spreading my money out in longer terms.
Okay.
So it's not once a month, it's every 4 months. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think it's going to continue going down. And
So
to,
you're like
to
dollar cost
find,
averaging down? Or
yeah,
what?
to find that stable floor, I think it's better to be patient than it is to.
Do you think people should be worried that like things are going to keep going down?
Not worried because I don't think there's like a crash or a flash crash coming or anything like that. The flash crash already happened. A crash is when like something goes down like 30-40% like span of 1
Yeah.
week. I think now it's to a point where there are those great players like like a Jack Hughes in hockey or like a Wembanyama in basketball that can spike at any moment. That's a dime a dozen though, like
Yeah.
a rare opportunity, like 3 players per sport,
I think even like per year, right? Like I mean, Jack Hughes, he hasn't really done anything yet. Like he has had the most points in a or in a year or in a season rather,
Yeah.
for the Devils.
Yeah.
But like how is that a big deal? Is that a massive deal so far? Like he put up 18 points in 5 games. That's great, awesome. He's still got to finish the season off. He says finish the season off strong. Maybe he wins a Hart Trophy, in which case and maybe some of his price tag is justified. But at the end of the day, Jack Hughes has really not done anything yet. You know what
Yeah,
I
and
mean?
I
So,
think
like,
those spikes in those single players that occur every year. Last year was Jason Robertson, Tage
You're right,
Thompson.
you're right.
It happens every year. It used
Yeah.
to be Carter Hart. It used to
Yeah.
be Clayton Keller.
Yes.
It's happened every single year I've been in this
Yes,
hobby.
yes.
There's 3 to 4 players that spike up,
Yeah.
but those spikes are what give people hope
For
in this,
sure,
in this
100%,
hobby, right?
100%,
And
yeah,
in a down market,
Yeah.
maybe I'll pick the next guy,
Yeah.
whether it be Dawson Mercer or
yeah, like Mason McTavish.
Mason
or-
McTavish.
yeah,
So that gives
yeah.
hope, right?
Yeah.
But the general rule of thumb is in a bear market, most cards are going to go down, and I don't think it's going to be a crash, but I think it's going to be a just a
It's
steady
like a gradual
2,
like,
3, 5% per
yeah.
month.
I mean, that's kind of what the market, like the actual stock market's doing. right now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like weekly, it's like 1.5%, 2%, and then after like 2 months, you're like, okay, we're down like 9-10%.
Exactly, and I think the argument is always there that cards don't act like the stock market, and they don't.
Yeah.
They're not stocks.
No.
However, what the stock market shows is the health of the economy,
Yeah.
right? And the health of the economy now segues into how much disposable income someone
Yeah.
has, and that disposable income now segues into how much money can be spent on cards.
Yeah.
That's why money dwindles, right? So
Yeah. Well, talk to me about this. Do you know much about like Bitcoin?
I do know a little bit. Not
Okay,
too,
so
too
Bitcoin's
much.
on like a 45% run rate.
Oh, yeah,
Over
yeah.
the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the idea is that Bitcoin's a store of value.
Mhm.
If that's true, some would argue, and they did argue early in 2021, that sports cards, certain sports cards, could be a store of value. If that were true, I'm struggling to figure out why, even in the case of sports cards, a tangible asset that like people collect, there's scarcity there. Why those cards are coming down when you see like even crypto right now on this like meteoric run. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but I found that interesting. So I'm like, if anything, I mean, it looks like people are transitioning from like into stores of value, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what that would suggest. I mean, there's like the stock market's going down a little bit. Depends on your definition of a little bit, but and people are kind of looking for alternate ways to put their money into something that might grow over the course of the next year, 2 years, 3 years, depending on where the economy is at.
Yeah, I think the store of value requires everyone that believes it to be a store of value to continue to believe it that way.
Yeah.
And you need it to be an efficient market, which means you need a lot of people to believe that is a store of value. Why is Bitcoin considered a store of value? Because there's thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people that believe that it is.
Yeah.
If there was only one, it wouldn't be a store of value.
Even look at the mantle, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Like the mantle, the 8 went down from last year, right? Like there was a copy that sold on Golden. A year later, the exact same copy sold for
Half
almost
price.
$1 million,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're like, everyone accepts that the mantle is like, right? Like 90% of people who collect cards of any kind would say that the mantle is the GOAT of cards. It's probably the safest card ever, maybe, you know, in all of sports cards. So that kind of stuff I find super interesting because it's like, well, if that's not a store of value, then what is?
Yeah, so that's like the thing, right? The market of cards being a store of value is a very segmented idea, right?
Yeah.
It's a very niche idea. There's not a lot of card collectors when it comes to the whole grand scheme of the world, right?
No, that's
why
fair. That's
gold
fair,
in general is just
That's
a piece
true,
of metal,
actually. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
Gold is nothing.
Yeah.
But what makes gold a store of value is that you can go to India, you can go to China, you can go to a remote place in any country in the world, and they understand what gold is,
trade it, basically.
and they understand that it's a store of value. But if you take your Mickey Mantle,
You're right,
and you go
you're right.
anywhere else in the world,
Yeah.
they don't understand it's a store of value. It's only a store of value in the card community and people that understand it. The art community is a little bit bigger. So now there's a store of value for wealthy people, right? And the wealthy community that loves art is a lot larger than the wealthy community that loves cards.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a store of value for just that community, right? What is a dollar at the end of the day as well?
Yeah, it means a piece of paper, right?
It's just a trust that it's a store of value from the government, right?
Yes.
We all trust it. Some people don't, which is why they moved to Bitcoin as a store of value.
That's correct.
That's why money and currency weakens and strengthens because there's trust that shifts between countries based on activity in the
Yes,
world.
exactly.
So that's why it's a store of value.
We just
but
went straight into macro. I
yeah,
love
it's
it.
a store of
I love
value,
it.
but to
I
a
love
small
it.
segment of the population.
You're right, though.
So-
You're right, though, right? And I find oftentimes as collectors and as people who, you know, put money and time and energy into this space, like we kind of forget that at the end of the day, like, these are pieces of paper. These are like pieces of cardboard, you know, like, and I love them and you love them, and everyone in this place right now is appreciative of all different types of them. But at the end of the day, like, if you were to take this even to a restaurant, if I were to take that $1.5 million mantle into a restaurant and say, hey, listen, I don't have money right now. I will pay for this check with this card. They're gonna be like, get the hell out.
And that was a segment
Get the hell out of my
with
my
Chad
restaurant.
Blesnick for a bit.
They're gonna be like, get the hell out of my restaurant, right? They're gonna be like, what is this? I don't see value in this. I mean, someone might. It's almost like that. There's like a fable, like, you know, a dad gives a kid the keys to his car, and the kid goes to a pawn shop, and the guy gives him like $50, and he ends up going to an antique card shop, and it ends up offering like $50,000. So anyway, all that to say, you know, collect what you like at the end of the day, because I mean, whether it goes up, whether it goes down, I mean, you're stuck with it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, on a completely macro level, how do cards go up in value? They go up in value if more people believe it's a store of value.
That's true,
right? Because now, if there's more money pouring into this hobby, that's because more people believe it's a store of value, right?
Yeah.
So now, if everyone believes in the hobby and everyone's already in the hobby, then now that store of value is no longer in a growth stage, and that's why cards don't go up.
Yeah.
That's what happened in the 90s. Everyone started believing that cards were a store of value. Everyone was already in the market. There's no opportunity for cards to go up in value anymore because everyone's already in.
And everyone owned the same thing, right? Like,
Exactly, and there's
like,
thousands and hundreds of thousands of Ken Griffey Juniors.
Like, people are just marketed like, they're like, oh no, this is going to be a big money one day.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, think about how many people walk into card shops these days and they come in with like junk wax stuff. They're like, hey, here's all my 90s stuff. Like, I have like Griffey rookies. And I mean, I've seen it happen firsthand where people are like, yeah, that's like, you know, maybe a $3 or $5 card.
And
I just held this. Like the ROI on holding something for 30 years.
I know.
You could have bought anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else. You could have bought like a cereal box, and it would have been like niche. It would have been so antique. After 30 years, someone would have probably paid like 30x for it.
I know, 100%. And at the end of the day,
else.
as card guys, $500 of gold or $500 on a Bedard Easter egg. I'm gonna go with the Bedard Easter egg, man. Even though it's
love it.
It's a printed piece of cardboard.
That's exactly it. I love it.
All
So,
good.
Karn, let everyone know where they can first of all, follow Slab Sharks. Which platforms can they follow you guys on? How can they consign cards with you? Is it Canada only? Do you guys do the United States? I mean, we got lots of questions. Go for it.
Yeah, we're directed towards Canadians,
Okay.
but our buyers, 75% of them are from the United States, and we do have consigners from the United States as well.
Amazing.
A lot of our American consigners believe, we do a lot better with hockey cards
Yeah.
specifically than American consigners do. So yeah, we take consigners all over the world, and you can find us on Slab Sharks Inc. on Instagram, and our eBay store is under the same name, Slab Sharks Inc. And if you want to consign a card, just email us at support@slabsharks.com, or you can DM us on Instagram, or come to the Toronto Sports Card Expo. We're taking consignments here in person, and we'll get them up for you real quickly as well.
Amazing. Karn, I want to thank you so much for jumping on. I mean, we always have some fun talking. And team, get ready for our next interview. I mean, give Karn a round of applause, man.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.